Boxing News 24 is a fun boxing page to read. You can tell they're pro PBC, and they usually have bad things to say about Terence Crawford and Canelo. They don't like either one of these guys. Now, in this case, they don't like Terence Crawford more than Canelo, I guess. They're saying Terence Crawford was backpedaling and wants the Canelo fight at 160 rather than 168. Terence Crawford's goal is to be three-time undisputed. How can he do that if he fights Canelo at a catchweight? Now, at first, they didn't want to fight each other, but every time they got interviewed, they were getting nagged about the fight. So Terence Crawford first said, you know what? I fight him at 158 and 160. And then, it turned into, well, I want to be three-time undisputed champion. I'll fight him at 168. And Canelo was down for the idea too, but he says the fight has to make sense. What Boxing 24 is talking about is an old video that was released when Canelo's asked would he fight Errol Spence at 160. And he says that fight was possible. Terence Crawford tweeted it, and then all of a sudden Boxing News 24 says Bud Crawford is backpedaling out of the fight at 168 and wants it at 160. So be careful what you read. But Boxing 24 is definitely an entertaining boxing page with a bunch of PBC fanboys. Now, what Eddie Reynoso said about Terence Crawford going to 168 and fighting Canelo, he says Canelo has done it. Canelo has went from 152 to 168, and he also said Canelo has fought at 175. So he sees no problem with Crawford moving to 168 to fight Canelo Alvarez. And he also says it's a big fight. The fans will love it. But he said right now it's speculation until it becomes reality. Eddie Reynoso is not just Canelo's boxing trainer, coach. He's not just his coach. He's also his manager. And Eddie Reynoso wants the biggest fights for Canelo. And even though I don't really like the fight for Crawford or Canelo, it's the biggest fight out there. I'm only one fan of boxing. And I've been going around these YouTube streets, and most of the boxing fans want to see Canelo versus Crawford. In his words, he says, if Canelo could go from 152 to 168, why can't Crawford move up from 147 to 168? And Canelo has fought as high as 175. He also was talking about going to cruiserweight and fighting McCobble. And Eddie is right. Crawford could go up to 168 and shock us all. But realistically, I don't think Crawford belongs at 168. I like Crawford. I like Canelo. They're both great fighters. They should fight in their own divisions and show and prove. Crawford even moved to 154 and fight Tim Tszyu. Tim Tszyu wants Crawford at 154. Tim Tszyu wants Charlo at 154. And Canelo has a handful of fighters that want him. He got Benavidez, Morrell. He also says he wants a rematch with Bivol. Well, fight Bivol at 168. Bivol has offered to fight him at 168, so why don't Canelo take that? There are fights out there for both of the all-time greats. And those are fights I like. But for business sense, Crawford and Canelo still is the biggest fight out there. Even Eddie Reynoso realizes that. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Jay Beasy, I'm gone.